Hi guys, this is Tony here from Metal Roos. You're about to sit down and enjoy an interview I just did um, over there, and so do like and subscribe so you can get all this straight into your streaming and into your consciousness as soon as it arrives. So enjoy the interview, and I will. Over to you, Tony. Hi, Stu. This is Stu Marshall from Empires of Eden. Hello, how are you going?
Tony, great, mate. Good to see you, and thanks for your time.
No, pleasure, pleasure. Now, you've got a new album out coming out, or it's been out since the 15th of November, which is Guardians of Time. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
right.
I was just admiring your guitars in the background before we started. And now, as a guitar nerd myself, I'm sort of got to get a bib.
Yeah, some fun machines. Yeah, it's
Oh,
yeah,
beautiful. I suppose on this album, particularly, I mean, all your albums are so orchestral, and such a big sound. Do you have to use a lot of those on the album, or do you have one pet guitar that you like?
yeah. It's a good question. I do have a go-to studio guitar, which is a thing called a PRS Tremonti. I've got
Oh,
it,
PRS. Ooh,
got it
ooh.
right here. It's actually plugged in. So there's the proof in the pudding. This is the
Beautiful.
one that when the demos get done and the final tracks generally this is the main guitar, and then for solos I do tend to grab different guitars for different kinds of feels and things, and they make me play different. So there's a bunch of Ibanez stuff on the album. There's some Jacksons and quite a bit of ESPs used here and there. So I like to vary it up just from an aesthetic. I don't know if people can hear the difference, but I certainly play differently when I pick different things up. And yeah,
But I think that's very true. Like I have about six guitars, and one of them I can only play blues on. It
there
won't
you
let me play anything else. I pick it up, I try and do all the widdly diddlies, and it's like, no, you're just going to play 12 bar blues on me, right? And so I mean, people do hear it. I mean, I hear it on the album. I
go.
mean, it's such, as I said before, it's such a big sound. It's such an orchestral,
Thank you.
progressive sound, and that's the thing that I take away. I mean, not only the amazing people you've got on this album. I mean, I could spend the next 20 minutes talking about everyone that's on this album. It's just incredible the people
We
you've
should.
got. We should and we will. But the previous stuff you've got, I mean, Steve Grimmett, my favorite vocalist of all time, from Grim Reaper. How you, God, rest his soul. But wow, getting him on a previous album is like,
I really miss Steve. Fortunately, we became friends. I toured him out here in Australia in 2010,
yeah.
and me and my wife we became really close friends with Millie and Steve, and they stayed with us on their honeymoon
Oh,
out here, and we were lucky to see them again when we went over to Swindon in the UK, and we became really tight, close friends. He recorded on two releases for me,
mm.
and there was talk of further work. But man, we really miss him. And when his anniversary comes up, it hits pretty hard. And I can say to anybody watching this that Steve was one of the most genuine people in this industry, and the sweetest guy, but lungs of steel.
Oh
Like one of the
man.
great singers of our time. And I know we're here to talk about my stuff, but
Yeah.
check out a band called Lion's Heart that he did. I think in the mid '90s. It's some
Yes.
of his finest work, and the guitar playing on it is just crazy.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people know about it, but yeah.
Wonderful.
Um,
I just want to say it because that's the kind of people you work with. I want to bring up that because that's the kind of the kind of royalty that you get to play on your album, which is amazing. And this new album, I've got it written down here. Like you've got Genevieve Rhoda from Temptress, a good friend of mine, good band. You got Anthony Fox on guitar, he's also on there from the band. I mean, you've got Jeff Martin, ex Racer X, Sean Peake from Deaf Dealer. I could name. And not only just that, you've also got John Gallagher from Raven on bass. It's like
yeah.
tick all my favorite album bands, tick tick. Like,
Well, mate, the background to all of this is, I started Empires of Eden in 2007, had some leftover material from a previous band I was in called Dungeon, and really wanted to see these songs see the light of day. The first album had three singers, was very sort of limited, but as a metal fan, I just went for the second album, who do I want to work with? And literally
Mm,
went through the LPs and the dream list. Like, and I'm talking dream list. Like I'm a huge Sabotage fan, it'd be incredible to
yes.
work with Zach. Or I'm a huge Malmsteen fan. It'd be great to work with Mike Vasera.
Oh,
Huge Udo fan, and one by one, I just started gently writing to these people saying, look, would you be interested in doing some session work? I'm a songwriter kind of first, and I'd love to write some material for you. And people started saying yes. And
wow.
so the second album came out, which was a dream. And then more concepts came, and then the third album, Channeling the Infinite, came out with Rob Rock that had Udo on it. And just people that I'm a fan of. This isn't about dollar signs. This is
No.
about going through the LPs and I'd love to write for this guy. I'd love to write for this guy. And here we are at album 5, and there are
Wow.
some people that have appeared before that kind of become part of the Empires of Eden family. And it's most people say yes, and the relationship with the singers is great.
I think you and with all of them. I mean, to be honest with you, because that again, that's what comes across in this album, and all the other albums particularly, but this one's my favorite of the lot that you've done.
Great.
Really, truly, only because your soundscape. I mean, your orchestral production, because you do the orchestration on it. The orchestral production on this is something out of this world. I mean, it's almost operatic.
Thank you.
You know, the layers in it. I mean, I appreciate production because I've sat through people producing. I've been in when people produce stuff, and it's an art unto itself. It's something that people
Mm,
don't know about. They put the album on, they listen to the band, don't think about how much effort a production takes. And your
mm,
production is just it's
thank you.
fantastic. Like I don't know, it it must have been quite difficult being having to drag them all together to get it such a tight sound, you know?
Yeah. So, Tony, the thing is, there's nothing difficult about this for me,
Aye.
because it's all love, bro. Like everything I do in this is because I love doing it. I've got a really great home studio, so I got some fun tools to play with, and
Mm,
so I can come in here, when I'm feeling creative and just spend hours working on stuff bit by bit by bit instead
mm.
of there being stress. The other thing that's worth noting is I should show the LP. It's
Yeah, it is.
just come out now. So one of the things some people may notice is I've got my name on the album for the first time. So this is the first album
Yes.
I've put my name on for a reason, which I'll explain. But it's always been called Empires of Eden because I write the music and the singers write all their own lyrics and melodies. So, and it's been revealed to me by some of the singers that that's pretty rare when they're doing these kinds of things or in bands.
Mm.
Mike Vasera said to me, this is the first time that I've ever been given full reign by a session to do this. And he was so overjoyed. So, kind of what you're
Oh,
hearing is not just me. It's a little arrogant to say it's a Stu Marshall solo album. I've called it Empires of Eden. But on this album, there are 2 songs where I've written all the lyrics and melodies. And I thought, you know what? I might just throw my name to it a bit,
yeah.
because, again, people have no idea who I am. So it seemed to make sense that if I'm writing the lyrics and melodies, that I might throw a
Mm.
very tiny Stu Marshall in the corner. So that's pretty much the concept of everything you've heard. Is it's not only me. It's such a collaborative effort, and sometimes I'm surprised. I send the music off and I let the singers do whatever they want to do. So that's giving you that flavor of this is Rob Rock's lyrics, all his feelings, all of his emotions, all of
Yes.
his melodies. And I don't get in that way. I let them do what they want to do. And this is the great thing about it. Every song has that different flavor, but you're actually hearing the essence of the performer.
Yeah, and I think that's again what it is. It doesn't feel like it's still. It doesn't stand still. You know, some albums you get to the third or fourth track, you go, "Oh, come on!" Like jog on. Like you know what I mean? Like was this? It's
Yes.
always moving, and the
And it's a
sound
nice
is
thing.
big. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you shouldn't. I mean, I read that you're a multi-instrumentalist. I mean, you do everything. You can do everything. You like drums and bass and guitar and
Yeah.
yeah, which is something which is great. I envy that because at least you can hear, what I want. I want that. Oh, that's not what I want. I want that without being too, you know. sometimes guitarists just go, "I just do my bit and I walk away." But
Yeah.
you've got your
And
finger.
it's funny too. I believe in letting the experts do what the experts do. So
Mm,
you brought up Mark Gallagher.
mm.
Sorry, John Gallagher.
John Gallagher, yeah,
Mark's his brother.
yeah, that's it.
I only saw them the other week, and so
Brilliant,
forgive
weren't
me,
they?
John. Yeah. Is you know, I've been a Raven fan forever
Mm,
back in the day, and I was on a morning walk, and I talked to John a little bit. He's been a very generous person on Facebook to talk to, and over the years, because I'm in a band called Death Dealer,
mm.
he knows Ross, and sort of through that, I've been able to reach out to him as a fan and say, you're a big influence, and so over time we've become buddies and acquaintances. And
Mm.
I met up with him at the last tour they did. Anyway, I was on a walk and I thought, man, I'd love to get John to play bass because people know him as a singer, but they need to hear this guy play bass.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I was listening to a song called Athletic Rock, which is one of their old tracks, and the bass work on it is just crazy. I'm like, let's just get him playing bass. So I thought, ooh, he's a big celebrity. If you don't ask, the answer's no,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I asked him, he said yes instantly, and he was so gracious about it. So getting guys like that to play on this, I didn't tell him what to do as a bass player. Like I had a scratch track of what I
Mm,
kind of went for, but I said, do your own thing. So yeah, I can play some stuff, but
mm.
this is not about imposing my will on others. This is about kind of making it one huge band, I guess.
It's a beautiful concept, Stu. It really is a beautiful concept. I mean, when you dig deep into it, I love the name Empires of Eden because it actually does sum up an empire of everyone's music. It's the Eden of everyone's music, right? I really love that analogy, and I also like the way that when you jam pack the album, like there's a lot on this album, Like I went through a bit of a generous run the other day, and I still didn't get to the bottom of it before I got back. It just keeps going. It's fantastic,
Yeah.
and it doesn't feel like you need to skip, which is the
Oh,
big
sweet. Well,
issue
that's the
with
best
most
thing you can
bands.
say.
Yeah,
That's the
man.
best thing you can say to a
All
writer, right?
killer,
Like,
no filler. All killer, no filler, man. And there are a lot of albums out there, and I'll be honest, hand on my heart, that are filler, full of filler. You know that.
well,
Um,
Tony, I'm a listener as well. So when
mm,
I make an album, I do agonize myself over your time. So I want you to spend 45 minutes going, that was great, instead of, man, I could do with 20 minutes of my life back
oh
for
yes.
for there's quite a lot of songs that hit the cutting room floor that never make the cut.
Mm.
Um, and let's name some other people on here. Like we got
Oh yeah,
Tony,
sorry.
from Liege Lord.
That's right.
Um,
You got John
Liege Lord,
from
massive influence on
yeah,
me. Burn to My
Black.
Touch album was
Oh yeah.
huge, and had to have him on there. And you mentioned Genevieve and
Yeah.
Fox from Temptress.
Love them.
So on this album, we put the concept together of an Aussie alliance. So I approached a
Hey.
heap of friends in the Aussie metal scene to play, and some people were too busy. The guys in Vanishing Point had too much on. But we got the guys from Elm Street there. We've
I
got
love those
Temptress
guys.
there.
Yeah.
Obviously, Louis, who appears all over this
Yep.
as a co-producer, he's everywhere. So, um,
Black Majesty.
um,
John from Black
yeah,
Majesty.
we got Geo on there from Black
Fuck, I love
Majesty.
that band.
It's really just about pulling friends together. We're all good mates, and
Isn't it
why
good, isn't
not
it? That's the
share the
community
love?
of
And
metal, is it not? Don't you think? It's just something about music
yeah,
and a community like that. I love it. And Australia, I mean, this could get seen around the world. And I genuinely, I've lived here for 28 years now. I'm
mhm.
proudly Australian, right? Um, but the Australian metal scene is something different. It's something unlike any other scene in the world. I really believe that. Like I grew up in a punk scene in the UK and London where it was all connected, right?
Yeah,
Here it just feels like a big family. There's no rivalries. You don't feel that someone's coming and going, "Oh, I want a bigger stage. I want the bigger sound. I want the better set." They just get together and play,
yeah.
and it's
I
wonderful.
think there's a little bit of that. I think there can be a healthy competition, but
Mm,
I was at the Steel Assassins gig in the city a couple of weeks ago, and I wrote to Dave Balfour, who runs that,
mm,
and I said it's actually taken me back a little bit to the old days of true family at these gigs. It just felt like everybody getting
yeah,
together, and yeah, we should be
yeah.
proud of our heritage.
We are, and the quality, not just that, but the quality, Stu. I mean, you know, whatever genre you want to listen to, like progressive metal, power metal, whatever it is, the quality here is, I think, because we're so isolated, to be honest, is so unique. Like it's so good. Like you've just mentioned all these bands that I love, like Elm Street, love them, right? But outside of probably here, no one's going to go, oh, who's Elm Street? It's a shame, right?
I know, I know.
It's a real
That's
shame.
life, though, man. That's life in the underground metal scene, right?
It is, but sometimes a bit of us like to go leave it underground because it's ours, and others go, no, give it to the world. You know,
Of course,
yeah,
of
it's like a
course.
bit of my toy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a gatekeeper by any means, but I love the fact that it's ours, bro.
Oh
Venom
yeah, mate.
Inc. I,
Yeah,
I got to
Tony's
meet
a good
up
friend of
with
mine.
Mantis, and
Yeah,
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 and just what a great band they are. That's ours. Like when you wear a Venom shirt,
yeah.
it's ours. So
Exactly. And Tony's such a geezer. I was always a bit wary. I was a bit scared of Jeff. Like I've met him, but it was like, ooh. Was it because I remember seeing them and they're playing for the very first time they played in Australia and he's playing and I'm right at
yeah.
the front and I'm literally just wanting to go and grab his guitar like I mean in awe. I love Venom so much. I'm like I just want to, can I just touch your guitar, Jeff? He's like, "Oh."
Yeah,
But yeah, no,
he's a
Tone's a geezer.
sweetheart.
Tone's a geezer. I've had him on my show. He's a nice guy. Ah, dear. So, obviously, you've this is going to go out now in the world, and we're going to be. It's on all streaming platforms and all media
Yeah.
outlets, and so on and so forth.
Mm.
It's you're not. It's not the kind of music you can tour, though, is it? Because it's a studio album as such.
Yeah, you know what? It is possible to tour. Obviously, Toby's doing it with Avantasia,
Mm,
and that's been an incredible success in Europe.
mm.
Um, but it's the old story, mate. It's always about funding. I
Well,
would love
exactly.
to take this thing on the road, with 10 singers and do that
God,
kind of thing. It's not out of the realms of possibility. In the fact that next year through Massacre, I'm re-releasing all four albums that have been fully remixed and remastered
brilliant.
to the current quality because
Oh,
that was something I was never happy with. The first album especially sounded terrible, but now it's in the right hands. So you never know if things go well with it. The record company might want to fund some touring, and
I could see you
my
on a big
bags are
stage.
packed, bro.
Yeah, I could see you on a big stage in Europe, man. I could. The Europeans, they love this. This sort of thing is really big in Europe, right?
Yeah.
Germany, Holland, Denmark, France. I mean, I reckon you take that on the show and kill it over there, man.
Well, dude, I was only in the States 2 weeks ago. I was hanging out with Jeff Martin up in Lake Tahoe.
Mm.
Where every time I go over, I try and catch up with him, and he's ready to come out. Like he's just when can we do some shows? And so it's really just about pulling it together. I could probably do it with 5 or 6 singers.
Yeah,
And I know Rob Rock's quite keen to come to Australia as well. So
brilliant.
it's just trying to pull all that together. But yeah, at the moment we're just focusing on the release. Yeah.
But you know what though? That's the key of it, isn't it? I mean, the product is the thing that you're working on, and I think that gives that everyone a little option to hear it. You know what I mean? It's not just
Yeah.
limited to a
It's
tour. Everyone can hear it. And
yeah.
I highly recommend it. Everyone's watching this, bloody recommend it because um, even if traditional or power metal is not your thing or whatever you want to call it, it's a very difficult thing to put your music into a genre. It's just really bloody good produced music. You know,
Thank you. Well, I think the new album probably shows the thrash side. Like when I was in Dungeon, I was
mm,
writing Bay Area speed thrash, and
oh
that's part of my DNA. So, we've got the Mortal Rights song on the album, which is Jonas from Dragonland
yeah,
screaming, and there's some speedier songs on there and more aggressive stuff. I'd like to work with Blitz from Overkill in the future on the next
ooh,
album, and possibly Billy from Testament. So,
ooh,
Chuck. So, there's lots of thrash material sitting there ready to go. So, I think it hits all corners.
I think
This
so.
album is unique in the fact that, let's face it, if you're using streaming or Spotify, you've got a playlist, right?
Mm,
You got a playlist of favorite tracks. And as a modern listener, I kind of put this together to be an almost a playlist, right? Like, you got power metal with Guardians, but then When Will It End with Darren from Harum Scarum's very AOR.
Mm.
Then straight up with Mortal Rights, which is just pure head down thrash. And then some more sort of conventional aggressive power metal.
Mm.
I'm really anti happy metal. I don't like.
I will have to say that's not my scene either. I am with
Yeah,
you. All right,
I
it's
can't
not my
dig it.
scene. I don't
Yeah, I
get
don't
it.
want. Yeah,
Yeah, I absolutely with you. There's a place for it if you want it.
yeah.
All well and good in the world, but no, not for me.
Well,
It
let's get
doesn't. It
dark.
doesn't.
Let's get dark and evil and heavy
Yeah,
and sinister with it. And
yeah.
that's probably where the orchestral stuff comes in too.
It
I
does. It
love.
feels that way. It's very like the stuff you're doing with Genevieve. The layering in the vocal is so good. Like it's. I was listening to Rotting Christ the other day, like Heretic,
Mm.
and they do all this orchestral. You know that they do this all sort of funereal orchestral stuff. And I was listening, and I thought, God, it's so alike, but not copied, but just that fantastic open. Um, I don't know the right word, sort of reverence. It
Mm.
feels angelic without being angelic. If you know what I mean? Like,
I know other artists have done this, and it sounds like it's very Spinal Tap to say this sort of stuff. But I could easily release an orchestral album of just orchestral music that'd put people to sleep. But
not
horns and
necessarily.
cellos and stuff like that are as dark and as heavy as any
Oh
guitar
my
can be.
God.
If
Yeah.
they're put together, and then if you layer them the right way,
Mm.
they tell the story. And there's the thing too, right? You want light and shade in the music. You don't just want
No.
an assault.
Yeah.
It's you want a little bit of space, and if you can use strings and cellos and horns, trombones and things like that in the background,
Yeah.
I think that enriches the sound a little bit and does lift that production.
I mean, I'm a lover of prog, and so I really love to have, I can go listening to Venom and just get my head blown to pieces, but also I can go and listen to things like yours and get the appreciation of this lovely open soundscape. It seems
Mm.
vast, I mean that genuinely. Like it's like walking through an RPG. There's really good RPG games where the world is huge. It really feels like that in your music. Like I
Thank you.
put it on, I've got a really good sound system, and I put it on, and I can stand in one side of the room and hear something different to when I stand on the other side of the room. I
That's
can take
great.
it for a walk, and it just flows around. And
That's great.
yeah, it was a real breath take to listen to it. Like I
Wow.
heard your stuff
Thanks, Tony.
before, but it took my breath away. I was like, ooh.
Mm. That's
As a
great.
genuine lover of music,
Mm.
I think people it will draw people in, mate. This is the kind of album. I better wrap it up soon, but this is the kind of album that if you were new to metal and you weren't
Mm.
sure, you could give it to your mate and go, listen to this, right?
Mm.
And it's a bit of, like you said, a bit of everything, and it would draw you into the sort of genre quite well, and then you can go off and do bits and pieces. But I think this is a good. I think for your band, for me, this is the best album. I love Steve.
Thank you,
Don't get
man.
me wrong, I love Steve. I know he's a
Yeah, look, and every album's different, if and here's the other truth. I listened to all the remixed first floor albums, and they've all been remixed, semi-identically, like we have, and they all sound great, but I could mix and match any of those songs on any other, like I could make a compilation and it would
mm,
still sound all the same, whereas
yeah,
I think some artists evolve. You're hearing me as a songwriter evolve for sure, but it's all me musically. So you've got that flavor running through it, good or
yeah,
bad.
yeah,
Um, so if people dig, it's kind of, oh, if I like this album, I guarantee you're going to like the rest because it's got the similar flavor running through it from a writer's perspective.
yeah.
So you've said some of the nicest things to me I've heard so far, so that's great.
Oh, thank you, because I genuinely mean it. I always look at music in a positive way, because I'm not there making that album, but I'm there enjoying it. And when I enjoy it, um, I understand because I'm a musician myself. I understand the the pain and the anguish and the love and the sweat and the blood that goes into making these things. And when you put it on and you put your headphones on, if something can take you away out of your life for 40 odd minutes, it's all I can ask. You know what I
Well,
mean?
the other
It's
thing that's challenging, I think, probably to answer you from before, the real challenge is making sure I'm not predictable musically. So my idea is to set up songs that don't put you to don't. I'm trying to get it so you don't predict what's coming next.
Oh
That's the
yes.
hope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that keeps it fresh from your perspective. Talking about great albums. There was an album that came out by Dennis Sherman a little while ago, which is the two guys from Merciful Fate and Sean
Yes.
Peck, who I work with in Death Dealer.
Yeah.
And the Dennis Sherman material's like that, dude. Like every time I hear it, it's like a rinse out of my ears for
Oh,
refreshment to hear fresh metal. And
yeah.
and that's the hard thing, I guess. That's the challenge in the format I'm working in, is to keep it fresh and not repeat, oh, that song sounds like Priest, and that's poison for an artist,
It
you
is.
really, and it's almost unavoidable, but that's the goal. That's the challenge.
That's it. Well, thank you for calling. I was about run out of time. So thank you for let me chat with you. I've really bloody enjoyed the album.
Thanks, mate.
I hope from all that it does so well for you that you can go off and have a massive tour. I'm really looking forward to the remasters, the remixes, because then I might go, no, I quite like that. I think I like that first. I'm looking forward to hearing it with fresh ears. And
Yeah.
I'm really, thank you, proud that you're Australian. I'm proud that it's local and it's ours, and it's also the world's as well.
Oh, it's
But
ours.
thanks, mate.
Yeah.
And I'm very envious of your guitar collection. Let's just say that. I'll leave it on.
Thanks,
I'll
Tony.
leave it
No,
on.
no problem, mate. No problem, man. No
I'm not going
problem.
to go, oh, I mean, which one would I want? I'm a bass player,
Always
but I love
buying,
guitars.
always buying, always selling.
Oh, mate, I just want a Gibson Gold Top. That's my next one. Once I've got that, I'm probably done for the for the.
I've got a bunch of Les Paul customs over there. So
Oh, don't show
next
me, I
time we
won't.
talk, I'll
Yeah,
check one out.
absolutely. Bloody hell. Oh, they're my favorites. Anyway, thank you for coming. Have a good rest of your day. Enjoy whatever you've got to do. I'm sure you've got lots
Thanks,
of
mate.
stuff on. Um,
Appreciate you.
completely always creating, which is wonderful. Um,
Thanks, Tony.
talk to you soon, man.
See you, buddy.
Bye for now. Where we go? Oh, I'm really bad at computers, man. Stopping this thing is terrible. See you, mate.